Start on a journey through ancient times as we explore the incredible story of the Spanish Empire, a giant whose influence still resonates today. From its beginning when there were many separate kingdoms to its rise as a big global power, the tale of the Spanish Empire is one of brave explorers, big conquests, and lasting effects. Walk through the busy streets of Madrid, explore new lands in the Americas, and learn about fearless people like Christopher Columbus and Hernán Cortés. But behind all the riches and greatness, there's also a story of secrets, big plans, and how things change over time. Come along as we uncover the story of the Spanish Empire, a journey that will grab your interest and show you how history shapes the world we live in today. The inception of the Spanish Empire, 1402 to 1521, marked a period of unprecedented expansion and influence, propelled by a confluence of factors that shaped its trajectory. However, the origins of the Spanish lie in a fragmented landscape of kingdoms during the 1400s, including Castile, Aragon, Navarre, and Granada. These disparate realms were consolidated through the politically motivated union of Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon in 1469. This strategic marriage laid the foundation for a unified Spain, enabling joint military campaigns. One of them is the reconquest of Granada from Islamic rule, a pivotal event that consolidated Spanish hegemony on the Iberian Peninsula. The union of Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile forged a confederation of realms under a common monarch, laying the groundwork for the burgeoning empire. Spain's emergence as a global power was not the result of happenstance, but rather a deliberate strategy of colonial expansion into the New World and beyond, exemplified by the capture of territories such as the Philippines and African colonies like Melilla. Ferdinand's involvement in conflicts for control of Italy and against France further solidified Spain's hegemonic ambitions. Ferdinand's subsequent aggressive foreign policy expanded Spain's sphere of influence, culminating in victories against Venice and France. The expulsion of the last Moorish king from Granada in 1492 paved the way for monumental voyages of exploration. In the fateful year of 1492, concurrent with the momentous event of Isabella and Ferdinand's conquest of Granada, the Spanish monarchs embarked on a venture that would redefine the contours of world history. They chose to back an Italian explorer named Christopher Columbus, furnishing him with 3 vessels, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Niña, along with provisions for an arduous voyage across uncharted waters. Setting sail from Spain, Columbus charted a westward course across the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, driven by the ambition to discover a new trade route to the riches of Asia. However, destiny had other plans in store. Instead of reaching the shores of the East, Columbus encountered the hitherto unknown lands of the Americas. This serendipitous encounter proved to be a pivotal moment in human history, heralding the dawn of a new era of exploration, conquest, and colonization. The inadvertent discovery of the Americas opened up vast territories for the Spanish crown to conquer and exploit, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape of the world. It sparked a wave of expeditions and colonization efforts as Spanish explorers and conquistadors set forth to claim new lands, exploit untold riches, and impose their dominion upon indigenous civilizations. In essence, the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus in 1492 marked the beginning of a transformative chapter in human history, one that would forever shape the course of global events and leave an indelible imprint on the collective consciousness of humanity. Upon learning of the momentous discovery of the Americas by a Catholic expedition, Pope Alexander VI wasted no time in asserting the divine sanction for Spanish sovereignty over these newfound lands. This proclamation, delivered in the form of a papal bull, constituted an official decree from the highest authority of the Catholic Church. Central to this decree was the stipulation that the Spanish monarchy possessed the divine right to lay claim to the continent, with the implicit expectation that they would undertake the conversion of the indigenous populations to Catholicism. Thus, the papal bull served as both a spiritual justification and a legal instrument for Spanish expansion into the New World. In the ensuing years, a flurry of activity ensued as Spanish explorers and missionaries embarked on voyages to the Americas, guided by their conviction of divine mandate. Armed with the authority bestowed upon them by the papal bull, they embarked on a dual mission: to assert Spanish dominion over the lands they encountered and to propagate the Catholic faith among the indigenous peoples. This convergence of religious fervor and imperial ambition fueled a relentless drive to conquer and convert, shaping the course of history and leaving an indelible mark on the cultures and civilizations of the Americas. The papal support provided a moral and legal foundation for Spanish colonization, laying the groundwork for centuries of cultural exchange, conflict, and upheaval in the New World. The settlement of Hispaniola in the early 1500s marked the beginning of Spanish colonization efforts in the Americas, with expeditions led by figures like Juan Ponce de Leon and Diego Velázquez establishing footholds in Puerto Rico and Cuba. However, the influx of American silver, while bolstering Spain's wealth and power in Europe, also led to economic dependence on foreign goods and inflation, hindering domestic growth and innovation. Despite its vast territorial holdings, the Spanish Empire remained insulated from the economic and social revolutions transforming other European nations, perpetuating a cycle of dependence on colonial resources and stifling domestic development. When the Spanish Empire ascended to prominence towards the close of the 15th century, they heralded an era of exploration and colonization that reshaped the course of history. Venturing across oceans, they asserted dominion over vast swathes of the Americas, subjugating ancient civilizations like the Aztecs and Incas, and engaging in fierce conflicts with rival European powers. At the pinnacle of their supremacy, the Spanish extended their rule into territories spanning Africa and Asia, earning the epithet the empire on which the sun never sets, due to the expanse of their domain across multiple time zones. In the 16th century, Habsburg Spain emerged as a formidable superpower, establishing the world's first global empire. Its zenith came during the cultural golden age of the 17th century. However, by the Peace of Utrecht in 1713, Spain underwent a significant decline. Stripped of territories in Italy and the Low Countries, it lost much of its influence, relegating it to a secondary role in continental politics. Despite this setback, Spain managed to retain its vast overseas empire until the early 19th century, when declarations of independence in regions like Venezuela and Paraguay led to the gradual dissolution of its American territories. Nevertheless, remnants of Spanish influence persisted in Asia, America, and Oceania until the Spanish-American War of 1898, which marked the definitive end of Spain's colonial dominance. Even then, Spain maintained territories in Africa until 1975. During the epoch from 1402 to 1521, known as the Golden Age of Spain, the empire witnessed an unprecedented surge in power and influence, shaping the course of global history. Often referred to as the empire on which the sun never sets, Spain's dominion extended across vast expanses, encompassing territories in Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The administration of this sprawling empire was not centralized in distant Madrid, but rather orchestrated from the bustling port city of Seville. The Spanish Empire of the Golden Age was a melting pot of diverse cultures and influences, reflecting a multi-ethnic enterprise that drew upon resources and expertise from across Europe and beyond. Armaments flowed from Milan, while Genoese and German financiers, notably the Fuggers, fueled the empire's economic engine. Sailors from Genoa, Portugal, and Venice navigated the seas, while soldiers like Ambrosio Spinola hailed from Germany and Italy. In the period spanning from 1542 to 1555, Spain enacted significant legislative measures aimed at safeguarding the rights of indigenous populations within its American colonies, marking a pivotal moment in the development of modern international law. These laws, promulgated in 1542, represented the first concerted effort by a colonial power to protect the native inhabitants of newly discovered territories. However, the implementation of these progressive measures faced formidable challenges, particularly from European colonists who resisted any encroachment on their power and privileges. In response to their protests, certain provisions of the new laws were partially revoked, signaling a compromise between colonial interests and humanitarian concerns. Subsequent attempts to enact legislation for the protection of indigenous peoples yielded mixed results, with the effectiveness of these measures often undermined by the entrenched interests of colonial authorities. Despite the intention to curtail abuses and exploitation, records indicate that the impact of these laws remained limited, with the restored encomenderos continuing to exploit native Indian labor for economic gain. Meanwhile, on the geopolitical front, Spain found itself embroiled in a complex web of alliances and conflicts across Europe. The reign of Charles V witnessed a series of military engagements and diplomatic maneuvers as Spain sought to assert its dominance on the continent and defend its territorial holdings against external threats. In 1543, the French king Francis I forged an unprecedented alliance with the Ottoman Sultan, Suleiman the Magnificent, a move aimed at challenging Spanish hegemony in Europe. This alliance culminated in the occupation of the Spanish-controlled city of Nice by French and Ottoman forces, triggering a period of intense conflict between France and Spain. Amidst these tumultuous events, Charles V pursued a multifaceted strategy to safeguard Spanish interests and counter the growing influence of rival powers. His efforts included military campaigns against Protestant forces in Germany, diplomatic overtures at the Council of Trent, and maritime operations to counter Ottoman incursions in the eastern Mediterranean. The culmination of Charles IV's reign and the subsequent ascension of his son, Philip II, heralded a new phase in Spanish history. Philip's succession marked a period of unparalleled territorial expansion and imperial ambition, as Spain sought to consolidate its position as a global superpower. Key developments during Philip II's reign included the colonization of Florida and the Philippines, strategic milestones that extended Spanish influence into new territories and established vital trade routes linking Asia, the Americas, and Europe. These colonial ventures not only enriched Spain's coffers, but also reinforced its status as a dominant maritime power. The zenith of Spain's imperial might was epitomized by the Battle of Lepanto in 1571, a decisive naval engagement that saw Spanish and Venetian forces decisively defeat the Ottoman fleet, thereby securing Spanish dominance in the Mediterranean and affirming its status as a preeminent European power. The colonization of the New World, spearheaded by intrepid conquistadors such as Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, stands as a testament to Spain's ambition and audacity. Allied with indigenous allies and facilitated by the spread of European diseases, they overran the mighty Aztec and Inca empires, laying the groundwork for Spanish dominion in Mexico and Peru. Yet, the quest for mythical golden cities often ended in disappointment, highlighting the inherent risks and uncertainties of colonial ventures. The Franco-Spanish conflicts of the early 16th century, ignited by Francis I's invasion of Spanish territories in Italy, underscored the enduring rivalry between the two powers. Despite initial setbacks, Spain emerged triumphant, consolidating its grip on Milan and asserting its dominance in the Italian peninsula. In sum, the Golden Age of Spain was a period of unparalleled expansion, ambition, and achievement. But it was also marked by contradictions, conflicts, and the inexorable march of time. The Spanish Inquisition, a formidable tribunal established by the Spanish crown, exemplified the fervent drive to propagate Catholicism both within Spain and across its burgeoning empire. Operating as a relentless force of religious orthodoxy, the Inquisition targeted non-Catholics residing on the Iberian Peninsula, including Jews and Muslims, compelling them to either embrace Catholicism or face expulsion from Spanish soil. The consequences of defiance were severe, with over 2,000 individuals meeting their demise at the hands of the Inquisition's executioners. While the Inquisition succeeded in fostering a more uniform Spanish cultural identity, its draconian methods exacted significant costs. The expulsion of Jewish intellectuals who held prominent positions within Spanish society resulted in a loss of valuable expertise and eroded the intellectual fabric of the nation. However, the zenith of Spanish power and influence gradually waned as the world transitioned into the modern era. The invasion of the Spanish Empire by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1808 marked a pivotal turning point, as the formidable might of his modern army overwhelmed Spanish forces. Napoleon's installation of his brother, Joseph Bonaparte, as the ruler of Spain ignited a bloody conflict between French occupiers and Spanish rebels, plunging the nation into chaos and economic turmoil. Amidst this tumultuous period, Spain's overseas colonies seized the opportunity to assert their independence. The Spanish-American Wars of Independence, characterized by fierce battles and widespread upheaval, heralded the demise of Spanish colonial rule in Latin America. The weakened Spanish Empire, preoccupied with internal strife, proved incapable of quelling the aspirations of its colonial subjects, leading to the emergence of independent nations across South and Central America. The decline of the Spanish Empire accelerated in the 19th century, marked by the loss of territories like Louisiana to the United States and internal turmoil sparked by Napoleon's invasion. The Peninsular War and subsequent political instability weakened Spain's control over its colonies, leading to a wave of independence movements across Latin America. The wars for independence in Spanish America were sparked by yet another unsuccessful attempt by the British to take control of Spanish American territory, this time in the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata in 1806. When a small British force defeated the Viceroy, he hastily retreated to the hills. However, in 1807, when Criollos militias and the colonial army defeated the reinforced British force, they were inspired by the success of the North American revolutionaries and began striving for their own independence. This set off a series of conflicts that eventually led to the independence of Paraguay in 1811 and Uruguay in 1815, though it was ruled by Brazil until 1828. José de San Martín played a crucial role in securing freedom for Argentina in 1816, Chile in 1818, and Peru in 1821. Further north, Simón Bolívar led forces that secured independence for Venezuela, Colombia, which included Panama until 1903, Ecuador, and Bolivia by 1825. In 1810, Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, a forward-thinking priest, declared Mexican independence, which was achieved by 1821. Central America followed suit in 1821 and briefly joined Mexico from 1822 to 1823. Santo Domingo also declared independence in 1821 and sought inclusion in Bolívar's Republic of Gran Colombia, but was soon occupied by Haiti until a revolution in 1844. This left only Cuba and Puerto Rico under Spanish control in the New World. The aftermath of the Napoleonic era left Spain in disarray, creating a political void and fracturing the country politically and regionally. Wars and conflicts between progressives, liberals, and conservatives erupted, hindering Spain's progress, which had been slowly gaining momentum in the previous century. The 1870s saw a brief period of improvement when King Alfonso XIII and his capable ministers managed to restore some vitality to Spanish politics and prestige. But this progress was cut short by Alfonso's premature death. The surge of nationalist fervor and anti-colonial movements in various colonies reached a crescendo with the outbreak of the Spanish-American War in 1898, primarily sparked by tensions surrounding Cuba. Following a series of military engagements, Cuba eventually gained independence, while Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and Guam were relinquished to the United States in exchange for $20 million. On June 2, 1899, the last Spanish garrison in the Philippines, stationed in Baler, Aurora, was withdrawn, effectively bringing an end to nearly 4 centuries of Spanish dominance in the archipelago. With its presence in the Americas and Asia dissolved, Spain then proceeded to sell its Pacific Ocean territories to Germany in 1899, opting to retain only its African holdings. Overall, the twilight of the Spanish Empire witnessed a gradual decline in Spain's global influence, marked by internal strife, external conflicts, and the emergence of independent nations across the Americas and Africa. Despite their newfound sovereignty, these fledgling states retained strong cultural ties to Spain, reflecting centuries of Spanish influence in language, religion, and culture. However, the indigenous civilizations that once thrived under Spanish dominion, such as the Aztecs and Incas, remained consigned to history. Their cultural legacies irreversibly altered by centuries of colonial rule. The influence of the Spanish Empire on the Western Hemisphere has left an indelible mark, reshaping entire societies and leaving a lasting legacy. One of the most prominent manifestations of this influence is the widespread use of the Spanish language in Latin America today, serving as a testament to the empire's extensive reach. With nearly 500 million individuals worldwide speaking Spanish as their primary language, it stands as one of the most commonly spoken languages globally. Additionally, a significant majority of Latin Americans adhere to Catholicism, highlighting the enduring impact of Spain's religious dominance. Moreover, the architectural landscape of Latin America bears the unmistakable imprint of Spanish colonialism. Many cities feature meticulously preserved structures from the colonial era, dating back to the 16th century. These buildings boast ornate Baroque and neoclassical designs, particularly evident in the majestic churches and cathedrals that dot the landscape. While these architectural marvels serve as tangible reminders of Spain's lasting presence in the region, it's important to acknowledge that their construction often came at the expense of indigenous cultures that once thrived in the Americas. As we conclude our journey through the annals of antiquity and the saga of the Spanish Empire, we are left with a profound appreciation for the grandeur and complexity of this historical epic. From the audacious exploits of Christopher Columbus to the opulent treasures of the New World, the Spanish Empire's ascension to unparalleled grandeur is a testament to human ambition and exploration. Yet, beneath the veneer of opulence lies a labyrinth of intrigue, ambition, and duplicity, reminding us of the multifaceted nature of empire building. Throughout the centuries, the Spanish Empire shaped the course of global history, leaving an indelible mark on the lands it touched and the peoples it encountered. From the bustling streets of Madrid to the remote corners of the Americas and beyond, its influence resonates in language, religion, culture, and architecture. Yet alongside its triumphs are stories of conflict, exploitation, and resistance, reminders of the complexities inherent in imperial expansion. The legacy of the Spanish Empire is one of both pride and reflection, prompting us to reckon with the enduring impact of colonialism and the resilience of those who resisted it. As we bid farewell to this epic narrative, we are reminded that the legacy of the Spanish Empire echoes through the corridors of time, shaping the course of global events and leaving an indelible imprint on the collective consciousness of humanity.